So I was planning on making like a fun little video where I wrote a script and I like went through my entire process of trying to make Nicole's house from Kitchen Impact out of foam and cardboard. However, it is now the day that Nicole is being released, and I haven't come up with the script. I actually just finished most of the rough edits today, so I'm just gonna freeball it. I started this project in late February because I was like, oh, you know what? It would be fun. It would be fun to like try to make Nicole's house out of cardboard. And I was like, oh, okay, this might, this shouldn't be too terribly difficult because I have done similar projects in the past, although none of them were like, I wasn't like as focused on like making like the finer details as I was in this project, which ended up giving me a lot of trouble. However, um, you know, I made a lot of choices during this project that made it harder than it needed to be. And one of those choices was making the project like bigger than like the height of it is like past my knee. Like it's when I was sitting down, the house was taller than me. Like it's a pretty sizable project. It required a lot of paint and a lot of sacrifices of hot glue sticks. Someone actually ran out of hot glue, and I also ran out of Mod Podge before I even really started like doing the base layer of Mod Podge and pink paint because I haven't really done that kind of project in a hot minute, so a lot of my supplies are like really old. Like I had a paint like one of my little paint bottle things like just straight up like burst. Like I didn't even know they could do that, but yeah, it was fun. The main thing that gave me trouble was honestly, like if I had to break down the amount of time I spent on certain parts of this project, I'd say like 30% of it was like making the frame, like cutting out the cardboard, gluing it together, trying to make it look something like the house. And then like 50% was painting. And the rest of the percentage was me trying to figure out how to like make the windows look nice. Cause for some reason I'm like, okay, I want to practice getting better at working on the finer details. I want to like practice on precision and all that jazz. So I'm going to put a lot of focus on the windows, which ended up being a massive headache. But I went through a few iterations and I eventually got windows I could live with. However, then when I was putting all like the windows on, I realized I didn't make enough windows. I guess I just didn't count when I was cutting them up, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, another painting took so long. It's funny because I was like, oh, the shingles are probably going to be the most time consuming part of the project because if you're like cutting little shingles out of cardboard and you're doing like each individual piece, which I have done before because it creates nice texture, that takes forever. And it did take me a few nights of like just sitting at my desk doing other things and like cutting up the shingles and like tossing them in the little cardboard box so I could glue them on later. But I didn't like do all individually. Like I made like big strips of like shittily cut shingles to try to make the process go a little bit faster so I wouldn't lose interest before I got done. Even then, I wouldn't say I'm completely done. I just like had to like get to a stopping point. One because uh this might just be because I'm like a frail little chronically ill artist, but this kind of project is a little physically demanding, especially the way I work on it, which is by like not sleeping and it being like 3 a.m. and I'm running on like caffeine and trying to finish the project, which I don't recommend whatsoever. But when I do try to work on like a longer term project, it's really difficult for me. Like I like my projects to be doable within a few weeks, which if I had planned things better, maybe I would have finished in just a few weeks. Part of it is I think I forgot a lot of like the things I was planning on doing because between the time I put together like the foam cardboard and foam skeleton of the house there and then the time I started actually like painting and like adding the shingles, there's at least like a month gap where I just didn't touch the project because it's kind of intimidating having like this big ass cardboard house just sitting on a table. But yeah, there's still a few minutes of the process left. What other things? I was pleasantly surprised by like the painting details I added for like the wooden paneling and things. I don't know if I like originally planned to make like the little like the wood out of cardboard and like added it individually or not because like I said there's a gap in between when I started the project and when I got to like the second half of the project. So that's fun. I am kind of out of things to say. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't have made the base layer pink because it looked like a pink monstrosity at some point. And I think I would have gone with like purple because I feel like if you if you walk a bit away from the house in game, it's everything's kind of like has like a little bit of a purpleness to it. So if I were to either restart on the project or like pick up where I left off, I would probably paint it like a nice purple color as a base layer. Also, I my painting job on the roof was sloppier than other parts of the house, partially because I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to cover this with like purple pink looking foliage. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna use moss. And then I never thought to like check to see if the moss would like get the effect I was looking for. I only thought to do that towards the end of the project, and then I realized, oh, that's not really what I was going for. So due to me like having to stop working on it for the sake of like not throwing the entire thing in the garbage, I stopped where I did. I would like to at some point either remake and make a smaller version of the house and then I can like make sure I get all the little details I wanted to add. Or I would go back and like continue where I left off because like I wanted to like try to make the little like bird that's on the top of the I don't know what it's called, but like the entrance. I wanted to do the foliage because I thought that'd be fun and pretty, but didn't get around to it. And there are like a few other smaller details where it's like, oh darn, I kind of wish I got to do that. But this was a fun like prototype, I guess, and like test project because I was like, oh, I've done this before. It won't be difficult. And then I learned no, it's still pretty difficult. So yeah, that's all I got, I think. Um, if you're still watching this for some reason, thank you. If you think I should either try to remake it or try to finish the stuff I did make, let me know. Yeah, have a nice day. All right, here we go. Is that
Oh,
hard pity? That felt like hard
are you
pity.
guaranteed?
No, I got skirt glass.
Okay.
Damn it.
We both got
Fucking Mona.
Mona. We both got Mona.
Damn you, Mona.
No.